Welcome to Bits and Pieces Quilting. Today is the third video in the Quilters challenge, so stay tuned. Hi, I'm Michelle, and today we are answering Kelley's challenge from Kelley's Quilts Plus. So let's hear what Kelley has to say.
Hi there everyone, I am Kelley from the Fraser Valley of British Columbia in Canada. I have a challenge for you. I have been saving up old denim for a while, jeans that don't fit, ripped, etc. And I want to make a project out of them. I have decided what I want to make, and my challenge is for you to do the same. Gather up your old denim or go to the thrift stores, get what you need, make a project of your choice, and have fun. Good luck, everyone!
All right, so we need to use some denim, and I have a great idea. I saw something recently on Instagram, and it has been living rent-free in my brain since the minute I saw it. It uses the Daisy and Grace hexagon template, which you may have already seen me use with denim. Maybe that's why it all kind of came together. I made this project a little while ago, and if you haven't seen that video, I recommend you check it out. We're going to use some of the same techniques for this project. This is a much smaller project, much more easily digestible. I only need 7 hexagons. So let's go down to the table and I'll show you what I'm going to do and how we're going to do it. These are the pieces I'm going to use for this project. Kelley specifically said she wanted a piece of reused denim, and I have this piece of slightly mysterious origin, to be perfectly honest. I got it out of my mom's collection. It's definitely been washed. It's been in her fabric collection for a long time. Not exactly sure where she got it. She may have bought it to use to make some costumes for my brother, but I'm not really sure. Or it could be something else that's been cut up. But I snagged it because she wasn't going to use it. And I have already had some experience with the Daisy and Grace template. This is a hexagon template. You can get these from other companies as well, but mine is a Daisy and Grace template from Missouri Star Quilts. And I'm going to use this denim, and I'm going to use this fabric. Jason and I lived in Washington, D.C. for about 4.5 years, a little while ago, and I had bought this fabric just to do a bit of a memory quilt at one point, and I've got loads of it left. So I'm going to make this project with the Washington fabric and the denim. Now, like I said, I've already made a denim quilt, and you can see that video, but I'm just going to go through the steps pretty quickly here. So first I'm going to cut my denim pieces, and like in the other quilt I've done, I've learned that it's easiest just to start because hexagons are sort of perfectly designed to waste very little fabric. So I'm going to line it up as close as I can to the edges. I'm going to just start cutting, and then I'm going to place the next one as close as possible just to make the very most of my fabric and so that I don't waste too much of it. So I'm going to cut things like that, and then the next one I'll probably try and wedge in here like this, and then just keep cutting. I only need 7 for this project. And then for the fabric, I went back and looked at my video and got all of the scoop. So I have learned, Joanne Fabrics, we all remember the day. If my fabric is at least 42 inches, then I will be able to get all of the pieces I need out of a 5 7/8 of an inch wide strip. If my fabric is narrower than that, then I may cut it at 7 inches instead. So just bear with me for a second here while I check this. All right. I'm surprised. This is only going to be 41 inches of usable fabric, given the dimension that I've got here. So that's not my original plan. Because of the way that this template is designed, it's wider in this direction than it is in this direction. And so my original plan was to cut it in the narrow direction, which is 5 7/8, and then hope to get the 6 pieces I needed in this direction. But that's not going to work. So I'm actually going to cut it in this direction. I'm going to cut a 7-inch wide piece and then cut my 5 7/8 pieces in that direction. Actually, that might even be better in the end. A slightly wider piece, but I might be able to get the 7th. This is all about just maximizing the fabric. I don't want to cut 2 full strips if I don't have to. So this is me just sort of ruminating about all of the math. I'm going to press and cut, and then we'll come back and talk about how to make these little hexagons. So based on this fabric, it made the most sense to cut it in the long direction, which in this case is 6 7/8. And now I'm going to cross cut it for the width of my pieces, which is 5 7/8. And I should be able to get all 7 that I need for this project across the length of my strip. I really advise you to take the time and measure your fabric, measure the pieces you need, because sometimes it makes more sense to cut it lengthwise, as in to cut the wider strip because you can get more pieces, rather than cutting the narrower strip and then having to cut 2 of them. So I'm going to cut down this line, and then I'll show you how we cut these out. So that was a perfect fit. This is the last little piece of the selvage edge that I cut off. So not wasting anything at all. If I had only been able to get 6, I probably would have looked in my scraps for a separate piece, because once you see the way that this project goes together, having an oddball piece wouldn't have been a bad thing, rather than cutting up a whole other strip of fabric. So I've just layered 3 of the pieces of fabric here, and now I'm going to line up my template. Because the measurements are quite precise, the tips touch here and the edges touch here, and so it's just a matter of slicing off these corner pieces. I haven't come up with anything quite brilliant as a way to use those pieces quite yet. If you've got any ideas, let me know in the comments. I'm going to do this for this stack of 3, and then I'm going to stack up the last stack of 4, and then I'll have all of my shapes cut. I'm also trying to decide if I want to put some batting in my project. The last time I did this project, I knew I was going to be making a quilt, a large enough quilt for the car, that it was going to be really heavy with all of the denim and all the pieces, so I didn't include batting. But this is a smaller project, a much smaller project, and a little extra structure may not be a bad idea. So I think I'm going to try 1, and I'm going to use that in the bottom of my project, and you'll see what I'm making soon. And if I like it, I'll do the others, but if not, I have a use for 1 with a little extra structure to it. So the next step is to use the template and to take one of my pieces here, line up the template, and use that as the guide in order to set these pieces in place. And I should actually be doing this over and at the ironing board, but if you watch my video on the denim hexies that I've already done, I take you through this step by step and show you how to mix the iron with the clips in order for this to work. So now that that's perfectly centered, there's enough friction there that that's not going anywhere. And I have found that instead of burning your fingers, it actually makes sense to clip first. So I've just folded the edge up, folded it initially like this, and then folded it again like so up onto the top of the denim. And I'm going to clip here, and I'm going to turn the iron on. This is where I have found that it makes the most sense to iron, is to iron this piece and then keep going. Fold, clip, and then iron. You run a lot less risk of burning your fingers, and you get a nice sharp finish as well as you go all the way around. And I use a clip on every single corner. I have a total of 48 clips, so I can do all 7 of these all at once. I have 48 clips, I could do 8, but I only need 7 for this project. And it's a nice balance between folding, pressing, clipping, and then I sew those 8, then I come back and do another 8. It's a nice back and forth if you're doing a full project. So I'm going to fire up the iron. I am going to fold and clip this piece, and I'm going to top stitch it. And then I'm going to decide if I'm going to do the others with the batting or not. My first piece turned out really well, and I really like the batting in it. It gives it a little poofiness, a little extra structure, and the batting I'm using is actually a bit of a thicker batting. So I've cut the other 6 pieces that I need, and once I had them clipped and pressed, I took them over to the sewing machine, I'm not sure if you can see it, and did a nice tight top stitching all the way around here. You could do that by hand if you wanted. You could do that with a zigzag or a fancy blanket stitch, but my sewing machine is just a straight stitch machine, so I just did a straight stitch. I will have to get out my other sewing machine because these will get sewn together with a zigzag stitch, so I will have to get out my other machine. And then on the back you can sort of see where that top stitching was done as well. So I'm going to do the same thing now for the last 6. I've got my denim, I've got my backing fabric, and now I've got my batting. And then we're going to talk about how these are going to go together. I've started to sew these pieces using the same process that I did in my Denim Hexies video with by sewing 2 by 2, and then I'm going to come back and then sew these onto the main center. You can watch all the details to sew this together. But as I've done this, I've actually started to have second thoughts about this process because the plan is to somehow bring these 2 pieces together and sew them together to create a bit of a bowl shape. And I already suspect that that's not going to fit under the machine. So I may end up having to do those seams by hand. This is going to be so fascinating. I'm going to get my little flower sewn together by putting all these pieces like this together. And then we'll come back and talk about the situation that I suspect I'm going to find myself in. So it turns out for some reason, the audio for this part didn't record. So I'm going to try and figure out what I was trying to say to you as I was filming this. I realized very quickly that I wasn't sure how these pieces were going to actually go together, and I don't think I can actually put them under the machine because of the angles of those pieces. So my little flower looks super cute, but it took me a minute to come up with a way to figure out how to sew these together. And ultimately, I think what's going to have to happen is that they're going to have to be hand sewn together. Now there's only a few edges, so that it's not going to take very long, because you can see as I'm folding it up that I just don't see how that's going to go under or into a sewing machine. So I was glad that the idea came together, that this is actually possible to bring these edges up, but I think they're going to have to be hand sewn together. The thing about having to repeat something 6 different times is that you kind of perfect your technique by the time you get to the end. So I've hand stitched these 5 seams, and I've learned a few things, so let me show you how to do these seams. I want to bury my needle inside, so I am going to start in here, and I'm going to bring my needle up right at the corner like that, and I've got a knot at the end, and I'm just going to see if I can't pull it, and if I can't, it's not the end of the world. My knot might be oh no, there we go. So I've just given it a tug, and I've buried the knot in here. So that's good. I've got an extra thread here from my zigzagging. This is all on the inside, so it's not going to really matter. All right, so with the thread in there and the knot buried, I'm going to bring these 2 edges together, and I am going to stitch all the way up this edge, and I'm going to do it basically the same way I do binding, except I'm going to take really tiny little stitches. So it looks almost like a little ladder. So I'm going to take up a little bit of the fabric on this side, and then I'm going to reach straight across with my thread, with my needle and thread, and take another little stitch on this side. And I'm going to keep doing that all the way up. I want nice small stitches, mainly so that I can get lots of them in here and make the side of this little bowl nice and strong. I'm going to keep doing this all the way up to the edge. This doesn't take that long, especially after you've practiced 5 times. And then, spoiler alert, when I get to the top, I'm going to turn around and I'm actually going to put some more stitches all the way back down again, just to reinforce it. Just make sure that I stay in the camera here. It's easy to get distracted and pull this closer to my body so that you won't be able to see it. So this doesn't take very long. I always prefer to machine sew things, but I honestly could not figure out how to make this work. So just a few of these stitches. As I get to the top here, I want to make sure I take a couple of extra stitches right at the top to make sure that those points are kind of reinforced together right up here at the top so that that's nice and strong. Just a couple of stitches there. And then, like I said, I'm going to turn this and I'm going to take some bigger, wider stitches back down this same area that I just stitched, just to reinforce it, just to add, hopefully, maybe a little bit more strength. I'm not so worried about these stitches being really small and tight, just to work my way back down. And that'll also then let me put the knot down here at the bottom of the project rather than right up at the top. So the second row stitching goes quite a lot faster. And so there we are, down at the bottom here. I'm just going to move my thread a little bit more towards the actual bottom over here, just so I can hide my knot a little bit. And then I'm just going to knot my thread 3 loops. Give that a little pull. Make sure the knot is pulled up nice and tight. Snip that off. And voila! Well, the project is finished. Sort of a strange, odd little bowl. I saw this on Instagram, was really intrigued. Have no idea if or how the original was, how they did these edges, but I kind of like this. I've been doing some more crocheting lately, and I can see myself putting my yarn in here so that it doesn't roll all around off my chair and across the floor and all over the floor. So yeah, I kind of like it. It's kind of cute. And if I don't end up using it for yarn, I am sure I can use a catch-all in here somewhere just to hold little bits and bobs. I hope you enjoyed it. So I'm really thrilled with my little bowl. Not really sure where I'm going to put it. It might just sit here in my sewing room, actually. It probably is going to be a great caddy to catch different things. Maybe I'll put it on my desk at work. We'll see. I'm really thrilled with this. It was a really fun challenge. I hope you'll go check out the other challenge videos for Kelley's Denim Challenge. The links to all of the channels are down below. Thanks very much for watching, and don't forget to make the most of your fabric bits and pieces.